The following program is sponsored by The Greek, Ely's Radio Shack dealer at 570 Altman in downtown Ely, and brought to you as a public service by Georgetown Media in Ely, Nevada. Ely City Council meeting, November 21st, 2019.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ministerial Association thanks you all for allowing us to come and offer an invitation. As we beloved Heavenly Father, we're so grateful this evening for the opportunity to attend and invite thy Spirit to be with these dedicated civil citizens who seek to do the very best for our community, and we pray for thy guidance and direction on their behalf. We're grateful for this community of Ely and for the blessings that it holds for each and every one of us. What joy it is to live in this part of the world. And we thank you for these people who are willing to spend their time and effort to help conduct the affairs of our community. We pray for thy guidance and direction, and we seek them in the name of thy beloved Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
We have the roll call.
Mayor Robertson.
Present.
Councilman Blanket. Councilman Carson.
Here.
Councilman Spear.
Here.
Councilman Allred.
Present.
Councilwoman Beecher. Here. City Clerk Lee. Here. City Attorney Kyle.
Here.
City Treasurer Trask. Here. City Building Official Christensen.
Here.
City Engineer Almer.
Here.
Municipal Court Judge Coster.
Here.
That's all.
Thank you. With that, we'll move on to public comment. Please step to the microphone. You have 3 minutes. Please state your name.
Hello, I'm Cosette Anthony. I'm RSVP field representative for White Pine County. And I'm going to pass some papers around showing you about the costs that we incur in taking care of the people in the community and all of our volunteers. And we had our van total in August. And we were doing 5,000 miles a month and taking people to doctor's appointments and both local and out of town. And since then, after the settlement with the insurance company, we came up $10,000 plus short. And our project manager has been looking into every avenue to get us money for another van. And we found a foundation that will pay for almost all of it, except $2,000. We have to come up with $2,000, and as you know, with foundation money, somebody comes in and needs it before we can say we'll take it and have that money. We'll lose that, and we'll be back to trying to find $10,000. 3/4 of our clients are within the city limits. And we try to offer the best service we can. Almost everyone is a volunteer. And if there's any way, any help at all, with procuring that $2,000 so we can get another van going here. We were taking people to, that's my phone, I am so sorry. We were taking people to get chemo, we were bringing people home after they were life-flighted out, didn't have a way home, to hospital appointments, surgeries, on and on and on. And if you can help us with that $2,000, it would be such a great help. And so I'm asking if you can, and if you can discuss it and come up perhaps maybe I put it on the agenda for the next meeting. And hopefully you can have a decision for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, Kyle Horvath, Director of Tourism, for the record. I've got to drop my daughter off at gymnastics and come back for the actual talk about the Airbnb regulations, but I'm glad to be here and I'm glad you guys are discussing this. On August 27th, the Tourism and Recreation Board started their discussion on what recommendations that they would like to make to the city and the county on addressing Airbnbs and short-term rentals. And the main thing is our concern is just protecting the quality of the experience for the visitors, protecting the hotels and the lodging properties for the investments that they've made and making sure that the playing field is level for them, as well as protecting our community and our housing market. And so communities are addressing this because there have definitely been situations where it's gone completely sideways, unregulated, and entire local communities have been forced out of their homes because of housing prices. So I just want to go ahead and kind of give three suggestions that we had come up with and had kind of approved at our first reading. Our board was 100% present on this one, and so, but we're still having the discussion, and again, I'm kind of just coming because I want to be part of that discussion. I want tourism to be part of that. So all short-term vacation rentals must file and pay room tax regardless of the number of units offered on a property. There used to be a regulation of if you had 3 units or less than 3 units, then you were exempt from room tax. That obviously doesn't apply with Airbnbs where one entire house is a rental property. I was here a few months ago when we were talking about increasing the contribution from room tax into the city's budget. I'm glad we voted against that one, but I think expanding the amount of people that are paying room tax and paying business licenses and things like that will expand the coffer of the city directly. You know, so we are looking at the city seeing a benefit of this one. If the owner of the property is not locally present during the renting of the short-term vacation rental, then a local property manager must be identified and available to the persons renting the short-term vacation rental, and this is again to protect the visitor so that they have a quality experience and they can, you know, respond to somebody that's locally if they have any kind of problems. And then all property owners operating as short-term vacation rentals must obtain their state and local business licenses as the law requires. And Airbnb is set up for this as well as VRBO. This isn't anything that's groundbreaking. Those platforms are set up to collect room tax. And again, that gets reinvested back into the community. So in return, what tourism is willing to do for these vacation rentals is include all of our marketing materials, all of our resources. They do benefit from the marketing of tourism. You know, people don't go on to VRBO and say, where should I go vacation? Oh, look, there's Ely. You know, they go looking specifically for the destination that they're going to. So obviously, they've seen the marketing and they've seen the promotion to even come here. The second thing that we would provide is links on our lodging page website, just like we would for any lodging property that paid room tax, to the Ely VRBO page or Airbnb. And so I'll be back, and if you have any questions, I'll be here for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
John O'Flaherty, local Airbnb owner, operator. I was reading this proposed ordinance that you want to do. I think it's a little bit ambiguous. I think there is some points that need to be clarified on that. One that was a concern of mine is like a friend of credit paper, okay? On one of these, on the rental business, it kind of indicates that other combinations having more than 3 or more rooms for rent. I think a clarification of that needs to be clarified. Are you referencing bedrooms to be rented, 3 individual rooms to be rented? Does that include what? And I think that needs to be a clarification of what has to take place. There was another point on here too, under restrictions of short-term residential rentals. Short-term residential rentals is located within 600 feet of any other short-term residential rental, measured from property line to property line. Maybe a clarification of that too. This is the second reading. I'm assuming that, how many actual readings are there before this actually passed into law? More than 2, or is there a point of discussion, or?
Just I believe this is the
This
first
is
one.
it, it can be passed tonight.
It could be, but I think there's a few things that need to be tweaked on that, clarification of. To me, it would trigger, if it's 3 or more bedrooms to be rented, then you're saying that if an individual has 2 bedrooms, it doesn't qualify for an Airbnb to be taxed, and you need to be fair across the board. If he has one, it is exempt. So if you're to tax all of them, then be consistent with the taxation.
Are you gonna, can you stick around for the actual item, please?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
I have a couple comments to read.
Okay.
This is a letter from Gloria Labra. Says, I own Gloria's Trailer Park located at 730 Avenue C in Ely. I have 9 trailer spaces, 3 that are currently rented, 1 older model single wide, 1 fifth wheel RV, and 1 older motorhome, which has been there for over 10 years. I have upgraded water and electrical hookups to meet requirements for the RVs, with the exception of 2 spaces, which I am ready to upgrade. I have had the water backflow equipment installed. I'm excited about the possible change in policy to allow temporarily camp trailers and RVs to park in the trailer parks in order to help with the shortage of housing. I have always wanted to only rent to these tenants. Living in single or double wide mobile homes in parks is no longer the norm in today's world. People more often than not use RVs and camp trailers as permanent or temporary housing. These are the people I've always wanted as tenants in my park. I have recently been approached by a person to rent a space in my park. I had to turn them down. Thank you, Gloria Laura. This next one is a letter from Betsy Lopez. Says if the city knew what was good for themselves, they would be more relaxed about regulation. The fact that the mayor suggested to rezone 920 Avenue E temporarily until it sells again shows to me as a realtor that the city is trying to make things as complicated as possible for home buyers. We all agree that there is a home shortage, so why would anyone be against the city cleaning up? Why not encourage the process instead of more licensing? By encouraging, maybe make dump fees per yard less if you are working on a home that has been vacant for over 10 years. The more successful everyone is, the more taxes everyone will pay in county taxes. Everyone forgets all the taxes and labor and materials that is paid when fixing up a home that has been vacant for decades. I beg you not to start the ball rolling in driving away investors. The only reason for more regulation is that the locals are wanting to drive away people coming in with money and investing. Competition keeps companies on their toes. Also, I didn't get to comment on your sexism. How entirely 17th century to say that about a woman. When I heard what you said, I thought you should go trade places with a mother in a military deployed for your freedom overseas for Christmas. How ungrateful can you be? Betsy Lopez. This next one is an email from Vincent Fleischman. It says, my name is Vincent Fleischman. I own 2 properties in White Pine County. One is a short-term rental in McGill, and the other is a rental in McGill. I'm a licensed real estate agent, an investor, and I work a full-time job as well. There are 5 temporary stay-homes in Ely. The one in McGill is mine. I am told that the city is concerned that it will be overrun by this type of housing. Then it will be too late to regulate it. The citizens would object to people staying in these places. One of my neighbors is here tonight. She can tell you how she feels. We have a unique city and county. We are not like other big cities. Businesses are not flocking here in droves to open businesses. This is not Miami Beach or New York City. Perhaps copying regulations from another city will hurt a fragile housing industry. In fact, many county and city leaders say we need all the housing we can get. At this rate, you are in no danger of being overrun by new housing businesses. I bought 2 vacant homes. One is not suitable for a short-term rental because of the neighborhoods. Multiple abandoned homes on both sides. The other was for sale for a year and the grass was 5 foot high when I moved in. My point is that as an investor, I am not just interested in short-term rentals. I want to invest in rentals as well. If you regulate and tax my business, I will take that into account in my investment decisions. I have pulled out of one home for $100,000 because of this proposed ordinance. I cannot move forward when I know that this is a heavy regulation-minded government. Instead, I made offers in fruit. Let's look at the regulation. It requires a local contact. Most of the neighbors have my personal cell phone, but ask them to bear responsibility for any complaints. That's a job now. That costs 8 to 12% of gross rents in the city. There are no property managers here. If I could find one, you are requiring me to hire someone for $200 a month. Do you make that requirement of every owner of any business? It asks 13% of gross taxes. Now, with a property manager, we are at 25%. Take my federal taxes into account, and we are about 50% taxed. This makes a business plan not worth it. The 13% tax is roughly triple the flat rate fee amongst other cities, amount that other cities charge in short-term rentals. Why is that necessary? Why does Ely feel it's okay to charge 3 times the amount that Las Vegas charges? Is there examples of the city needing to step in and spend valuable city resources with any short-term rental?
Any other public comment?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, on your agenda item 9B2, the council should not give any consideration to amend any bylaws of the Nevada Northern Railway Foundation until it comes back under the auspices of the city council and operates under the Nevada Open Meeting Law. They're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, taxpayers' money, without any kind of accountability. I want to remind you they have yet to respond to my request for public information going back to October of 2015. Clear violation of the law. Can't have it both ways. Mr. Mayor, the city is running a legal advertising newspaper regarding vehicles that the city has taken from private individuals. Those vehicles need to be returned to the owners. Those vehicles were removed under cover of law, improperly and illegally. 2 vehicles were removed from my property at 490 High Street. They're older vehicles, considered antiques, valued at several thousand dollars, restored even more. Mr. Ron Arnoldson, who was here before you, was also a victim of selective enforcement, and the city came onto his property and moved an older vehicle possibly worth thousands restored. On numerous occasions at city council meetings, I have requested a complete list of all vehicles that were taken from private property. I want to know who authorized that, when did they go onto an agenda, and when did the city council approve that action? Who removed the vehicles, and at which location are they located at now? Hopefully, the city didn't sell any of them. Those vehicles didn't sell any of those vehicles. One could consider that grand theft grand theft. Period. I also want to remind you that the city has done nothing to bring Councilman Plingus into compliance. His vehicles sit on city right-of-way, not on private property. They don't appear to be licensed and insured as required of others. Why the discrimination? Councilman Plingus also sat on the planning commission, you may recall. He needs to comply or resign. You can't have it both ways. Why is the city clerk Jennifer Lee, as well as others before her, selectively enforcing the law? Those that can't do their job, Mr. Mayor, have got to go. Mr. Mayor, I want to remind you that your building inspector has yet to issue a permit that I applied for re-roof on my house, 490 High Street. Moisture is going to destroy my property. I want that permit. I don't want to be treated any differently than anyone else. Is your building inspector still going to Eureka? Does the city have a contract to provide inspections for Eureka City and County? If so, what do they pay for services rendered? On September 13, 2019, your building inspector was seen in Eureka with his wife in the city county.
George, that's been addressed.
Give me the information, Mr. Mayor. It hasn't been addressed. I want it in writing, not hearsay. Does the city insure non-employees, employee spouses, or the public in general to be able to ride or use city county vehicles? Your building inspector is selectively enforcing the law.
Thank you,
Under
George.
color law.
Thank you, George.
He is the single largest deterrent to city county growth, and that needs to stop.
Any other public comment? With that, we'll move on to item 3, mayor discussion for possible action, approval of agenda, including removal of agenda items. Is there anything that anybody would like to remove? Any other things we can remove? We will be moving, what items that number? And we'll move that up to right after this so we can address that. We have them on the phone, we'd like to get that taken care of real quick, so. With that, I'll entertain a motion on the agenda. We'll take Jim, who's got a second?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion, all in favor? Any opposed? Carried and so ordered. With that, we will move on to item B10. Council members, City Attorney Pyle, discussion for possible action, approval to retain the law firms of Elgin, Adams, and Bradley, Drendel, and Genie Limited to represent the City of Ely in regards to the opioid crisis and pursuing lawsuits against opioid drug companies at the rate of 25% of the recovery contingency fee. Does anyone?
Richard, are you there?
Does anybody have any questions for the attorney on this?
So I actually do have a comment on this. If the council is so inclined to approve this agreement, I would actually ask, and I don't know if they can hear me, but section 25, the penultimate section of this, it actually lists the city attorney as the person with the authority to modify the agreement. I think that's inaccurate. It should be the mayor or another legal representative of the city so appointed. I mean, I'm not opposed, I guess, to having the city attorney sign off on it as to form, but the city attorney doesn't have the authority to enter into agreements, so they can't modify it.
As a contractor, should probably come before the council, shouldn't
Absolutely.
it? Would that be an agreeable change to, I'm sorry, who do we have on the phone?
Richard and Robert.
Would that be an agreeable change?
Sorry, we were unable to hear the council member's question. Can you please
I wish you were here for this. This is amazing technology. So this is City Attorney Brian Pyle. The only comment I had was in section 25. It says the signature for amendment or modification would come from the city attorney. I think that should be changed to say the mayor with the approval of the city council. That's the only change that I saw. Okay. Okay, thank you. And I think we're gonna, well, I'll let the mayor handle it.
If there's no other questions, I'll entertain a motion on this.
I would move to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion on this item? I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried and so ordered. Thank you. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you. Have a good night.
With that, we'll move back to item 4, City Department Reports, Fire Chief. We'll be straight tonight. Or the Police Chief, the Municipal Court Judge.
No report beyond what is in the, thank you for calling me, beyond what's in the supplemental materials, that I encourage you, and thank you for your progress and professional selection surrounding the work that the court does. And you come from all directions.
Any questions for Judge Cox?
Thank you for the color change.
Oh, you read it?
Oh, yeah, I can read this now.
Did you like what you read, or shall we say that?
I just like the color change.
All right.
Better the color of law. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
City Clerk, nothing to report.
Nothing.
City Treasurer.
The only thing I was gonna let you know is I did hear from the state and they did grant the extension.
For the audit?
Audit.
Yeah, okay. City Public Works Supervisor, I believe he's here tonight. City Water Operator, City Engineer. Any report you get?
We're currently working on updating our fluid management plan for the wastewater treatment plant. Working with the landowner North Shear for the easement down there as part of the Salmon Street project. That actually was approved last Wednesday at the county commission. And so everything is in order. We're just waiting for all the signatures to come together, and we'll take care of that. So that was a very positive thing that happened there. Also, on the Altman project, sorry, I got something on there. But,
It's your finger.
on that project, they called me this week, and one of the things that they asked is about if they could use native backfill on our trenches and such. I didn't have an issue with it because the majority of our improvements are up out of the bottoms and up in East Ely. I think that's fine material. I said my biggest concern that I would have is that there is some type of minimum specification that's out there so that when you are working on the bottoms, that if it's below this minimum specification, that they do actually replace it with granular backfill. That was going to be pretty substantial cost savings to them from trucking, good material out just to bring good material back in. So it was a cost savings to them. They provided me the spec for what that native granular backfill would have to meet, and I didn't have no issues with it. And so I think it would be wise for the city to go with that, hopefully save some resources. They're also getting their agreement together. I think that agreement will be showing up here very shortly as far as our agreement of what we're responsible for, what they're responsible for going through on this project. To me, what preliminary discussions I've had with them, I think are very positive for what's happening. They're paying for obviously all the stuff that's actually outside of their right of way where they're in conflict with their storm drains and conflict with our utilities that we had to upgrade. One of the things that we did do is down there on 7th Street, we actually did propose a small extension. I mean, it's probably 100 feet down Lincoln Avenue to get rid of, a little old line that was down in there. That is something that they would not do, but it was just a small thing. I think once we're working in the area, I think it's very wise for us to do that. And so I don't have an exact percentage of what it is, but there was some stuff that even on East Altman Street, there's a few locations in there where they're conflicting with their storm drain, and they are paying for those areas too. So I think at the end, hopefully this will be very satisfied with what they come back in, and they'll be participating in the cost of all upgrades and stuff. That's the major thing for me. Any other questions?
Anything for the engineer?
Yes, I'd like to read the question. Is there any further work to be done on the Mill Street project that we did partially this summer?
I think they're coming with a chip seal, one more chip seal to go over it.
There's the chip seal yet to be done.
Yes, and that will be done. I think that will be the final step that they're going to do.
Thank you very much.
I guess the only other thing to say, since you brought it up, is we did have an RTC meeting today, and the money from the public transit is split based on our paved road miles, and so our percentage actually went up by 2.5% approximately from what we were getting before. Some of it was because we added on what we did up to there. We also added what we did on Belfort Street, and then the county obviously added on for what they did out at Georgetown Ranch and a few of their roads, but they also had a big deduct because they ground out the Long Valley Road, or not all of it, but good portions of it. So there was 13 miles or 12 miles that they ground out. So at the end, it actually increased our percentage of public transit by approximately 10%. So that's a positive.
Thank you. City Building Official?
Nothing to add.
Okay. We'll move on to item 5, reports. City Council. Attorney, we'll start with you now.
Thank you. I attended the meeting of the Lightning and Lincoln County Water Board Tuesday night, and after you attended some of the hearings at the courthouse on some the knowledge that they provide and whatnot that we have. We just don't publicly let our people know just exactly how things are going. Financially, they have a very small fund that's put in there on a yearly basis, and they're trying to come up with different kinds of ways to find Southern Water Authority. I do believe the judge that was at the hearings has
kind of looks like he's in favor of White Pine and Lincoln County, not so much in favor of the $17 billion loan for a pipeline. For reason